Good morning, everybody. I'm Dave Waddington. I'm the Chief of the Social, Economic, and Housing Statistics Division here at the Census Bureau, and I'm very happy to start with the introductions today and start our meeting. So I want to say welcome to our first CIP virtual conference. We're really happy to have all of you here. And as we get things going, before we start, I just want to give a big thank you. You'll probably hear this throughout, or certainly again a few times, but big thank you to the conference committee that got this all together and did a lot of work to set up all the sessions and all the great information we're going to learn and the listening sessions and such. And Shaliz Romu for coming up with his original idea for this. This is really great, and we're excited to be with you here virtually today. We have a really great schedule, and we look forward to hearing about your expertise and the expertise of many people about CIP. But before we do that, we're going to lead off with some comments and opening remarks by our director, Mr. Rob Santos. And after that, I will just say that Mark Klee will provide some guidance on navigating through the conference and how the things will work in the session. So hang on after Rob's done, and we'll give you some more information before we get started. But I'm really just delighted, Rob, to welcome you to our CIP conference and that you could fit this into your schedule to give some opening remarks. And with that, Rob, it's all yours. Thanks for being here and opening for us.
Well, thank you very much, Dave, and thank you for the committee for doing this, and welcome everybody. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to come and tell you a couple of stories and welcome you to the conference as part of the kickoff events. So, the survey of income and program participation is actually pretty near and dear to me. Way back in the late 1970s, when I was a grad student at the Department of Statistics, University of Michigan, I got to work on the Income Survey Development Program. The ISDP, as we called it, it was the research program leading up to the CIP. I conducted research on the impact of imputations to compensate for item missing data on survey statistics. Those were really good times. I did that work at ISR, the Survey Research Center at Michigan. So yes, I'm proud to have an association with the CIP. But for me, there's something even more meaningful about this program. Now, I've had over a 40-year career in survey research and applied statistics, and I've worked across a broad swath of policy research areas that include hunger, housing, justice policy, education, employment, income, travel behavior, immigration, public health, and actually that's just a fraction. Now, I'm not saying this to brag because I want to share an epiphany that I had based on my experiences in these areas and that relate to CIP. The body of work that I engaged in has led over time to revealing an insight that I suspect many of you in the audience are all too familiar with. So let's take hunger as an illustration. So I worked for a couple of decades with Feeding America on hunger research. Food banks, pantries, soup kitchens, they provide emergency food assistance. Remember the long lines to pick up food baskets during the pandemic? Yep. That was them, but they do that constantly because the population is in need. Well, such assistance is by its very nature temporary. It fills an immediate need, but the benefit is gone all too soon. And by that time, once it's gone, one of two things happens. Either the beneficiary is still in need and needs more assistance, or two, they've found a remedy and no longer need emergency food. And the same has been true for basic housing needs, for prescription drugs, for rent, utilities. There are programs out there to help folks with that, but they're temporary in nature. The duration of needs actually comes in many flavors. They can be chronic, they can be episodic, they can be temporary, one and done, or they can be some mixture of all of the above over time, depending on how you define those types of attributes. Hey, a lot can happen over a lifetime, right? And a lot can happen over 4 years. Sound familiar? So, how do people and families navigate the unfortunate situations that fate bestows? After all, life's problems are seldom, if ever, static. Problems come and go, they morph, and sometimes they're overcome. How can we better understand how this happens? What patterns lead folks in need to overcome life's obstacles, whether it's shelter, food, employment, education, or even the justice system? Well, to understand that, to gain real insight, you need a longitudinal perspective. Yes, you need longitudinal data. You need to look at the trajectories over time of the situations that people in need find themselves, how they attempted to navigate them, and the extent to which problems were mitigated. You need to be able to see that problems are not siloed. Life situations are necessarily interconnected. Unemployment is associated with education, which is associated with hunger and health and housing and safety net eligibility, and so on. So we not only need to see trajectories over time, but also the interconnectivity of all the things that allow us to live a life. And guess what? SIP provides the longitudinal data that can help us understand people's and families' trajectories, as well as the interconnectivity of various life aspects, which we call policy areas. Hey, it took me the better part of my career to develop this perspective and to appreciate the ability of a program like SIP to help us understand this landscape and find ways to improve society. But you already know this. That's why you're here. And at this conference, we'll be able to see the fruits of your labor. I commend all of our conference presenters for leveraging SIP data to develop new insights into how we may better understand and help society. We're terribly excited to hear about your research and uses of the SIP. Over 4 decades, SIP has provided the most comprehensive information available on the dynamics of America's economic well-being. With its range of topics and rich data, policymakers still depend on SIP for information on the distribution of income and success of government assistance programs. A big topic of innovation, by the way, is that SIP is the integrating administrative records throughout the survey lifecycle. We're also working on data collection enhancements to reduce respondent burden, which will increase data quality. We're doing things like including the event history calendar. And SIP will be moving to a multi-mode framework to further enable respondents to share their stories and information in their preferred mode. And we're also leveraging administrative records to enhance sampling and incorporate dynamic methods for reducing non-response bias. So thank you again for joining us. We're really, really looking forward to these presentations and learning more about your research and how we can better help you. So let the show begin. And back to you, Dave.
Well, thank you very much, Director Santos. I'll take it from here. Well, what an honor to hear you speak in support of SIP and everything that it does.